Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 2, episode 2. I am doing this recording via Zoom. I have my friend John Nicholson, who is down in Alabama. So I'm very lucky for him to join me. And so we decided to do it via Zoom since he's down there. And I did a Zoom episode on season 1 and it went pretty well. So giving this one a shot. Right now it's recording. So after recording, it sends you this file. So I'll upload it that way. So unfortunately, me and John couldn't link up because being far away. But this is one of my very close friends, John Nicholson. So he is not only an artist, designer. We used to work together at Leo Weekly. And he's just a very creative individual, also a musician. And so I think this would be a very interesting episode. He could definitely talk about some of his creative process and ideas and some of the things that he's working on. So, John, how you doing today?
Dude, I'm all right. How about you?
Doing good, hanging in there. So it's pretty rainy and nasty up here in Louisville. It's like almost dark and gray and just cold and nasty. So pretty much a perfect Sunday, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So how's the weather down there?
It's pretty chill compared to that. It's almost warm, but not quite warm.
Yeah, you're still
And
down in the south a little bit. What part of
yeah,
Alabama are you from again?
well, winter. I grew up in Prattville, which is really close to Montgomery,
Oh, okay.
um, since I was like 8 years old. And then before that, I lived in Georgia. No, North Carolina. I
Oh,
was
okay.
born in Georgia, then North Carolina.
Nice, nice. So, do you like Alabama? Do you like being back?
It's all right. You know,
Mm.
there's the weather's one of the best parts, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be nice down there. Me and John actually met. We were working together at Leo Weekly, and we were in a basement office of a building down on Main Street in downtown Louisville. And when John got hired on, he's kind of more of a quieter guy. So I popped my head in and was like, "What's up? You ever seen Louisville? You want me to take you around?" So I decided to take him around one day, and then we became close friends after that. Kind of bebopped around the city and show him some things. So he lived in the old Louisville area there for a while, and I lived down in J-Town. So it was cool meeting John through Leo. We had a lot of good times at Leo. I guess we could kind of dive into that first. Leo Weekly is a newspaper in Louisville. It's been around for over 30 years. I worked there for over 5, and John worked there for a few years, and that's where, like I said, I was able to meet John. A lot of new ownership, a lot of changes. Unfortunately, with Leo, happened, during the run, and so me and John unfortunately had to. Our careers ended there just with COVID and pay cuts and budgets. So it was a good run while it lasted, and I'll be honest, I'm very thankful for the people I got to meet, the opportunities I got to do, and it was a good time. So John was a lot of part of like the graphic design, doing the art part. So how long have you been doing art, like just in general?
Wow. Probably about the exact same as guitar, which is like since when I was 16 is when I started doing stuff for real. But I
Were
guess
you?
uh, I
Oh,
always did art when I
yeah.
was younger. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, were you more of like focused on art or more focused on music when you started?
Art. Yeah, art because I felt like I would make some money in art at least.
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. And then like is there anything that motivated you to pick up art and music, or is it just because you just felt you're good at it or you just wanted to give it a shot?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it's my family. Uh, my mom's side of the family is very creative and right-brained, I guess. Um, they're really good pianists or really great singer or composer. Uh, so I think that kind of bled down to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, they usually when you have some kind of musician in your family or ties to one, it can kind of roll off, or you end up wanting to give it a shot and dive in. So from an art standpoint, you were more of like, did you do more? I know you did a lot of digital art at Leo, putting that onto the paper, but more of like a digital kind of guy, or did you prefer just to like do it old school, hand and paper? I mean, what's some of your preferences?
I like to mix it up. I really like mostly drawing, and
Hmm.
that's kind of what I'm into right now. Drawing and then coloring with Photoshop. Uh, I like doing just digital stuff like collages. That's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because I remember you always had your doodle book. You're always drawing designs. Your line work was always really really impressive. You were very good with lines, and I could tell like not just angles, but just like drawing like mazes and different paths and different things like that. So I always thought that was really cool. And you also were very good with your animations. Not only on the paper, but just things you doodled yourself. And so I mean, the thing that I always thought was really cool about you was that you were not like you said tied down to one art. You did different things, and you can been very talented on multiple things that you've done. So when it comes to the art standpoint, um, is there ever like something where you've done it and you're just like, man, I really wish I could, do better at this thing, or I'm really good at this. I mean, what are some of your strengths and weaknesses when you would say art? Like anything that you want to improve on?
Mm, well, I definitely do feel like that a lot. What you're describing, where it's just not perfect or not exactly what I need. Um, my only the only answer I have to that is just to keep trying and do a new thing if one thing has run its course. Uh, was the question? Sorry, were you asking like
Well, just like strengths and weaknesses, you would say, just things that you definitely feel like you feel great about, like you feel very comfortable doing with art, and things that you feel like you could work on to improve.
okay, well, what can I improve? Well, I want to get better at drawing more cleanly. My technique right now is not exactly clean, but it becomes clean after just wearing it down a while.
Yeah,
Um, digital art, there's always something new I could learn. I know that every graphic artist I've met is in some kind of box. So there's always a way, or there's always a opportunity to kind of do something newer
yeah.
or better.
And then what would you say some of your strengths are? I mean, what are some things that you feel really good about doing that you feel like you've excelled in?
Um, with arts, just kind of attention maybe to detail. I mean, I spend a lot of time on certain drawings or things, certain projects that took me a really long time, even though I was
Yeah,
working intensively on them.
for sure. I mean, that's how I am, dude. But it's like I feel like I'll master something, and then I got to start working on it this way or try another way. So yeah, but no, it's always cool to ask that question because I just feel like it's cool to see what artists are wanting to work on and what they feel like they're doing well with. I guess I could ask you the same question when it comes to music. Like, do you feel you've been playing guitar? Is there any other instruments that you've been wanting to like break out and play? Like anything you've been wanting to try that you've never tried?
Hmm. I got to play a sitar once, and that was awesome. So one day when I can afford it, I'll get one of those. And also, I'm pretty okay with banjo, so I want to get one of those at a point.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I banjos are always cool. I've always admired people that play banjo. I knew a guy growing up, a kid. His dad would always play banjo in the living room when I'd be over there visiting and stuff. So that was like my first time really experiencing being around a banjo or even hearing the sound. And then when I moved to Nashville for a few years, you definitely had a few banjo players that would play downtown and stuff. So I think it's a really cool instrument. And then, I mean, do you feel like with your music and art, do you ever feel like the creative juices flow together? Like, do you ever feel like when you're doing art, you like think of something musically, or vice versa? You feel like you're doing some music, you're like, hey, you know what? This could maybe go well with a picture or video or anything like that.
Maybe a little bit, but that's not exactly something I've really explored to be
Mhm.
truthful. But like making album artwork for my albums, that's become like a whole thing. I've
I
never
think
had
that's
to
dope. I think that's super dope. Like,
do.
because I think you are the one putting the music out and then you making the album covers. I mean, a lot of artists don't do that. So I think that's really cool that you're doing your own.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, a lot of people will put some art out, put some brand out, put something that is about them, but then they'll use five other people to maybe help write their songs or help them come up with the artwork or just vice versa. So it's just kind of one of those cases where it's cool to see somebody actually do their own thing, like because independent artists are such a it's such a big deal and different things like that. Uh, Now, I think we might be having a little bit. Yeah, there we go. We had a little audio issue there, but again, vibing with Sleazy is very raw, so we do it. So even if there's little audio issues, it's all good. We'll get through it. So the other thing I was going to ask you, what do you feel like is when we were talking about you being in Alabama, what's a big difference that you're seeing um, from, I guess, I mean, is there a difference in like art preference of, I mean, even with sculptures and building designs in Alabama compared to Kentucky when you were here? I mean, are you seeing a big difference in art that way?
No, but yeah, I guess I haven't been to any like shows or anything like that.
Hmm.
Really, the only thing I've noticed in moving is just the weather. You know, I've been staying in. Pandemic.
Yeah. No, I respect it,
Um,
dude. Yeah, I feel it. I'm actually talking about the pandemic. I'm actually going to go get my vaccine booster next Friday. So it's already
right
time for the
on.
booster. Yeah, the governor he allowed everybody to get it. So yeah, it's been some wild times, but also I guess with the pandemic and just with how things been so wild, you being inside and kind of doing some isolation, you've probably been able to do some more creative, been able to work on things that you wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you count the Tony Hawk maps I've been making,
Oh
because I
yeah, shout out to Tony
spent a
Hawk.
lot of time on those too.
That's awesome, dude. Me and John used to play a lot of Tony Hawk when John was in Louisville. Tony Hawk's a classic game. They remastered and brought out, I think, a new version of 1 and 2. Everybody loved Tony Hawk, not only from like the skateboarding of aspect of it, like that was fun and like the challenges and stuff, but also the music was dope. I mean, Tony Hawk soundtracks were incredible. You would hear that's like a lot of times where I've heard rappers I never had heard of, or maybe even, like I remember, I think Public Enemies on one of the episodes, or Chuck D is on, not episodes, but on the one of the games. And so,
Hmm.
that was something that kind of exposed me to Chuck D and Public Enemy, which I thought was dope. But yeah, Tony Hawk, it's crazy to think about that you bring that up. I was hearing an interview where Tony Hawk, I guess, went out to eat or something with one of the developers from the video game company, and they like gave him a check for like $4 to $8 million, and he ended up just taking it and was just like, man, thanks. And I think he was just shocked how much he made off it, and it's like this is just it. Tony Hawk's become a brand that it's huge. I mean, he was the first real skater that I feel like not the real first skater, but he's the one that really put it on the map, the sport alone.
Yeah, and he's very genuine too. You
Yeah.
don't really see a lot of celebrities like him nowadays.
Oh yeah. Genuine, laid back. I think, a lot of skateboarders I've met personally are ones that I personally know. Like shout out to Aaron Benson, shout out to Jesse Hill, Sean Pizzo, a lot of the local guys here in Louisville that are big skateboarders. Like they're all down to earth, real humble dudes, just want to have fun, just grind out and skate. Louisville had a really good skate park, which I
Oh,
believe back in the day, Tony Hawk's maybe made an appearance down there. I know that, when Tony Hawk was really invested in X Games, he would come around to different cities. But yeah, it's cool to see, his career grow. And then when you say skateboarding, even if you don't know anything about skateboarding, even if you've never done it or even watched it, when you say the name Tony Hawk, you immediately think skateboard, and what was his brand of shoes? You remember those back then? Was that Birdcage?
Well, Birdhouse, yeah, is I
Birdhouse,
guess
that's it.
the out brand.
Yeah.
Birdhouse.
Yeah, so Birdhouse, dude, I remember a lot of kids, especially in middle school, had like the Birdhouse shoes, or almost like they made like their own style, like that flat band, skateboard. But I don't know, skateboarding shoes in general, I never really had any, but the ones that really got me like hooked on wanting to maybe wear some skateboarding type fashion, even though I never boarded, was the BBC ice creams, the Billionaire Boys Club. They made those little ice cream shoes that Pharrell's did, and they had like the skateboarding flat bottoms. I always thought those were sick.
Huh.
But yeah, Vans in general, and then you definitely have DCs, and Rob Jurdek, he's DC guy, I believe. So I know that he's had a lot of shoes come out. And what are the other brands out there? There's DC, Birdhouse. There's
I had
BBC, Ethnics,
yeah,
Ethnics or whatever was that called, or
I had me some Etnies.
Etnies. That's it, Etnies. Yeah. So yeah, dude, skateboarding shoes. I mean, they pretty much can go with anything. I mean, I remember girls wearing them back in the day, and skateboarding was really big in middle school and high school. It really got to be you know, started becoming really a bigger sport. And I don't know, Rob Jurdek, his story alone too is always really incredible to me. I mean, starting off as just a basic skater in Ohio, and now he's multimillionaire with a bunch of global brands. So he's really
Mhm.
doing some big things for not only skateboarding alone, but it's just cool to see another person make it like that. Is there a lot of skateboarding in Alabama? I mean, I know probably mainly more Birmingham area, or like the main more cities, I guess you would say. But uh,
Right.
I mean, even locally, do you know anybody that's like a big boarder, or anybody that wants to or tries?
I knew one guy that skated, but I never witnessed it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Back in the day, my friend had gotten a skateboard, and I tried it like once, and I was like, this I can't do that. So I stuck to the games really, but I still was really into the fashion and fucking tech
Yeah,
deck dudes.
tech
Um,
decks were dope, dude. Yeah, they
I
make
loved all the
with the
aesthetics.
fingers. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I loved you know I loved sports growing up. Like I played basketball, baseball, and even dabbled in soccer and hockey. But football was one sport I always would play it with friends. But I tried to like at least try every sport. Even if I didn't always, I played some organized, and some I didn't. But with like skateboarding, I just wanted to give it a shot. And I remember also kind of the same scenario. My buddy across the street had gotten a skateboard. I gave it a shot. I'm like 6 foot and lanky. Still trying to get my coordination down, with my growth spurt. And I remember just busting my ass on the skateboard, but it was fun just to try it. I mean, I think if somebody actually got me on one, maybe with like a bigger length and I could keep my feet on, I could maybe give it a shot. But scooter, I also kind of got into the scooter thing. I had a
Oh,
micro. My feet were so big because I was so tall. I think I had like size 12 shoes at that time. And like I remember in middle school, like everybody had the Razor. I was like, I want that micro, and I loved it because I rode that scooter all the time, and uh, it was just, man. I remember the scooter craze was big, and then it's like, and then I'm like looking back on it, I still see some people with the manual scooters, and I'm like, man, those were the days. And then now you got freaking apps like Bird and Lime and all these places that have the electric ones, and those are incredible. I mean, they get you around, but they're also super dangerous. You can fly off those things quick.
yeah, yeah, I can't stand that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be
But
honest.
it's
Yeah.
nice that some people have gotten some enjoyment from them. That's
Well,
cool.
yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I enjoy it when I've been on it. Like I remember in Indianapolis, me and my buddy Brian rode them around, and I've told the story before. We snuck into a Pacers game, and pretty much the reason we were able to do that was thankful to those electric scooters. But yeah, some of those people don't know how to drive them, and they get in the way. They park them in places. I remember when we used to eat at Main Eatery. Shout out to Main Eatery down on Main Street. Um, they would park all their scooters just directly in front of their door, and
Yeah.
like they would be so pissed because they're like, we can't move these because you have to like log in. So there's definitely a inconvenience factor with them. It seems like a lot of big cities have definitely gotten like Cincinnati, Indy, it's still big. Like Cincy and Newport area, you see them all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's
For
an
me,
interesting thing.
it's that they cost money too. Like that type of thing should actually be free. And the fact that it takes up the space of a scooter, but you have to pay to use it, and it like fucking calls the police on you if you don't pay. Well, and you just try to use it as a scooter.
Yeah.
It calls the police on you, and
See,
that's some bullshit.
that is bullshit because number one, you should never get police involved at all. That's just my opinion because it's
Yeah,
like it's always a mess, and I'm not a big fan of the cops, and I just think a lot of times it's a freaking scooter. It's going to escalate situations a lot worse. I didn't even really know that till you just told me that. But, I had a bad incident on the scooter too, where, I was driving a scooter around by Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and I didn't know that by certain landmarks after certain times, they shut them down, but they still charge your ass. So, and you're getting, you're having to re-up on the scooter every $10 intervals. Well, you might end up spending a shitload of money just to get your scooter where you got to either carry it or try to move really slow just to get out of that red area so your thing actually moves again. So there's definitely some kinks and bugs they need to work on. I mean, I'm somebody that always likes to try something for the first time, so I had to try it. And I definitely think there's definitely a fun aspect, but there is a lot of negatives to it. And I think too, some of these companies don't really want to take responsibility about the negatives. And also you're right. I mean, there's so many things, like not just scooters, that should be for the public, should be to help people out, to shouldn't have to charge all the time. People love to
yeah.
charge everything, and it's one of these cases where we need to start having, not just in Louisville or Alabama or anywhere in the world, just have more city resources and things like that. So I feel like, I've even heard where they're thinking now with like this, the bill where they're talking about putting money into like airports, bridges, all that stuff. I feel like when they do that, there's going to be trains, like a lot of, I guess they're saying these like Amway trains and different trains that'll come to different cities and stuff. And so I think that'd be cool from the same one, like you'll have to pay, but I think if they just keep opening up more resources for traveling and transportation, it'd be dope because there's so many beautiful things and cool stuff in this country alone. And I talked to
Oh
my
yeah.
friends in Europe, and they travel so easy, to different countries just because they're all connected. I think in America we kind of lose sight in that we number one, we need more resources for traveling, which I believe we're getting them. But number two, it's like, I don't know. It's like it'd be fun to go explore more places. Like I'm at right now about 32 to 33 states I've seen. Got about 16 to 17 more. I believe I believe every count is around 17 more. And like, I love to go some of these places, but sometimes the travel cost is out of control. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
well, I'll see that one day. And life's short, and it's not fun to keep putting things off. So sometimes it's like, I wish there was a little more benefits to travel as well in the United States to give the people the opportunity, not only just to have fun and go sightsee and travel, but also like visit family that's sick or, loved ones and different scenarios like that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, even going from
Uh,
Louisville to Alabama just to come visit you or vice versa. It's still, yeah, it might just be some gas, but, shit, things are getting expensive.
I know. Yeah, and we need to go green. We were supposed to go green in the 70s, but then we voted out Carter, right?
Yeah.
We chose Reagan instead, and
And then he
we've
started
been
a
just
failed drug war.
descending to hell ever since.
Yeah, Reagan started a failed drug war, pretty much ruined the country, in my opinion. I believe, I believe Andrew Jackson is the worst president of all time, but I believe
Oh yeah.
Ronald Reagan though is right up there. I mean, the drug war that he caused was awful. It literally imprisoned so many people, killed so many people, and you know, I see still some people wearing like Reagan Bush shirts and like goofy stuff like that. And from back in the day, and it makes me sick because it's just of how this drug war has been so failed, and now that states are finally legalizing marijuana and things are coming about. I mean, I'm hoping there's a bright future when it comes to that. I know you're not going to always get what you want, and I don't ever really even dive into politics too much, even on this show, but it's just mainly uh, we just got to be legal. I mean, they got to legalize this across the board. It's going
Oh,
to help jobs, money, income, people's health.
yeah,
Decriminalize it, get these people out of jail and prison. There's all these people making money off weed now, and there's people still serving time, suffering. I mean, us as humans, I gotta go on a rant, are just dumb as fuck. I mean, when we're jailing people over a fucking plant that comes out of the ground. I mean, it's absolutely stupidity, and that is what I'll say. Reagan was awful. He ruined it, and not saying Jimmy Carter's the most perfect person in the world, but you know, I wasn't around for Jimmy Carter. I know he was a peanut guy. I know some people oh, he talked about peanuts. No, he actually had a lot of things. He's still doing things now in his like
yeah.
80s and 90s, like building houses, helping giving back. He was just,
He
in
looks
my opinion, Jimmy Carter was a countryman. Like he cared about the country and he just wanted things to
right.
go correctly. And shit went weird.
Well, he was the last president that grew up a farmer or whatever.
I mean, I feel like he was very comfortable in regards of things that he could basically be humble about. Like he could still have his humble roots, but there's also things that I think he saw, hey, this is what the future has and different things like that. But I mean, I'm glad now in 2021, I'm seeing solar panels, I'm seeing weed legalization, I'm seeing, green cars, eco-friendly stuff. I'm enjoying seeing a lot of that stuff because you can tell there's some people that still get it and people that still care about the world. The ozone and climate change is huge. And if you don't believe it,
Yeah.
you're a fucking moron. And I'll say that right now. I don't care if you're anti-climate change, all that. Like, oh, I don't believe it is real. And that's the reason why it's still warm in some months. And that's the reason it's cold. And that's the reason climate and temperature and different weather changes from the standpoint of like hurricanes and all these different things. Like, this is all part of climate change in a big picture. And it's like we have to get it together as people to recycle and look into different things and use companies that have a good carbon footprint and different things like that, because we're getting to a point where, yes, I'm 32 years old. I hope to live another 60 years if God blesses me, but at the end of the day, I'm gone in 50 to 60 years. I can't help and do everything for the future. We all have to do it. And the kids that, so many people are having kids still to this day. And a lot of times, not to get on another subject, but a lot of times it's just like, I look at these people having kids and I'm like, that's a blessing. I'm happy for them. I love to have a little one of myself one day. But I also think about the future. And I think about, what does the future hold? Is it going to be worse? Is it going to be better? I mean, you see a lot of negatives from the standpoint of like, I feel like over the years, increases in crime, increases in poverty. But then you see, like I said, good things like legalization of weed, solar panels, different things. So I just really hope we are building a future, not just for American kids, for worldwide kids, kids in all over countries, different places, like that gives them a good life. I mean, I don't, even if I die with no kids or anything, like I still would like my legacy to be like, this is what I believed in, this is what I did, I tried my best, and I want to make sure the future is good because the future is important. And I don't know, it
Yeah.
seems like sometimes it's scary to think, is it going to be good or bad?
And if reincarnation is real, you want a better life in the future anyway.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like bringing up reincarnation, like I'm not saying that I 100% believe that I could die and come back, as another person or a llama, but at the same time, it could. And the thing about it too is like I'm not hating or putting down anything anymore. Like, and I'm not saying I ever was or recently was, but I'm not viewing things that maybe I don't agree on or I see, because there's no reason to disagree with people. Everyone should have the right to believe in what they want. Everyone should have the right to give things a shot. And even if you don't believe it, or even if you don't buy it, or even if you don't think that's real, then just leave it alone. Unless someone's harping it down your face or screaming at you, or, making your life uncomfortable about it, that's one thing, defend your right. But it's like, let some things go. You don't know what's truth. Everything about religion is built on faith. I believe in God. That's based on faith, though. I don't know what's real, what's not. Same thing with atheists. Same thing with Catholics, with Muslims, with all kinds of religion standpoint. You don't really know what's real. So it cracks me up when people judge and people are so biased and like, oh, you're wrong, or why do you believe that, or anything. You don't even fucking know that yourself. So that's why even like reincarnation, even the flying spaghetti monster, which has its own congregation, like, what is it for what is it helping or benefiting the world that Eric hates it and says it's wrong? Because I don't fucking know. It's not like I have followers on my patio over here and I'm like, hello, it's your prophet Eric, I'm just telling you what to believe in. No, that's not what it is. So I'll say this: reincarnation, though, is something very fascinating. Now, I will say, I'll admit, I don't believe in it, but I also don't hate on it. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, because it could. But with that being said, and with you bringing up that subject, okay, you find out when you die you are reincarnated. I don't know the process. It could be the most easy process. It could be the most extreme process. But are you going to be would you want to be an animal or another human?
Good question. I would try out an animal, I guess, since I just did a human. Maybe go back and forth.
But here's the thing. Here's the other question I got. Do you think once you are reincarnated, or do you think in the reincarnation process, even if you were more than two things, say you're a human, a cheetah, a human, a wallaby, a human, like, do you think you're ever known in the process that, hey, I was this before or that, or is that the secret of reincarnation that you're never told?
Well, yeah, who knows, man? But maybe it's like when you die, you gain all your memories back. Like this existence is a dream,
Mm.
So when you die, you wake up and you remember everything about everything, and then you can pick.
And also, I guess, to tie on another extreme question, but do you feel like, okay, I see what your point you just said, but do you think it's where, like, say you and I die and we be reincarnated, could this be our first reincarnation? Like, did we not have anything before us? Is that a possibility as well?
I guess so. I mean, yeah, it's just confusing to say just like what is a life? I don't even know, or what is a soul? But it seems like we could be brand new. Yeah, we could be nothing.
No, I agree. I mean, it's
Yes.
such a mystery of, like, really, because there's so many things that are mysterious to me, that confuse me, that, you're like, is this real? Is this not? But then you start really diving in and thinking about it, and it really makes your brain spin. It really makes your brain tick to think like this could be this. But it also, to me, it's like we're in 2021, and as many things as we figured out as humans, from light, air, heat, technology, clothing. I mean, we figured out a lot. I mean, we figured it out to get by, but it's almost too one of these scenarios where you really think and think about it. It's like there's some things we still haven't figured out, and it cracks me up. It's like so many humans have tried it. It's like, when will we ever be perfect? Will we ever figure it out, or is that just going to be part of life?
Fucking magnets. How do they work?
Exactly, dude. So I'm saying,
That's what that song's about.
yeah, it's fucking science, dude. It's just fucking wild shit. I mean, it's also too, I think I said this to my girlfriend the other day. I was mentioning to her, it's like it's one of these cases where so many things in life are a mystery, and I don't know if we'll ever really truly figure it out. But some things too really just make you wonder of like, why is it done like this, or was there an easier way? Um, but
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about, and it's also crazy to think about how many humans have lived on this planet that have died,
Yeah.
that have like given it a shot. Like it's almost like you're creating a player in a video game. It's like you can create all these players, and it's just like, all right, it's like some people are gonna excel at life and knock it out, and some people are gonna have a rough life. And so it's one of these cases where you really don't know where you're gonna start. It's just kind of like you got to figure out how to finish it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Life's crazy because some people are born and they're only born for 3 days. They're only allowed to live for 3 days and they die, or you hear about these people living to 110 years old, and you're like, holy shit. And so it really makes you think.
Mm.
And I mean, same thing with animals though too. It's like it's wild to think that some animals aren't around anymore, like with extinction and stuff. I mean, there's a few zoos that I've gone to locally, and just in the South and even in the North, like where they'll talk about a lot of animals that have either passed, that are extinct, from the dodo bird, which a lot of people don't really, that bird's gone. We'll never have a dodo bird again. Different kind of rhinoceros species, you name it. And it's like, they've died. They're not around, and it even gets back into the whole thing about dinosaurs. It's like to really think about, man, there was dinosaurs on this planet. What really killed them out? Like what? And then it makes you think about, well, what would we have been like if we had dinosaurs with us? So there's so many questions about life in general, and like why this lived then, why is this not around now, and I don't know. I mean, it's just that's a lot of mysteries I like to figure out. I mean, because it's also too, it's like, why was everything so big back then? Like
Yeah.
everything was so big, and now things have gotten so small. It's like, why was there these humongous creatures? It's like, was it the oxygen level? I mean, what really made it? And I don't think we really know. I don't even think scientists know.
Mm. Mm.
Do
I
you
don't
have,
know.
I mean, do you have an opinion on dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Uh, that was the very first thing I was into, like like all of us, I guess.
Yeah, dinosaurs are dope.
I saw Jurassic Park uh, before I should have. I was a little young. I was young.
It blew your mind, didn't it?
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me, man.
Well,
I was
I'll be
pretty.
honest, it scared the shit out of me too, because the science center down there, actually by where we worked, it's been around my whole life, and they brought dinosaurs in that were like animatronics, and it scared the fuck out of me because I thought the shit was real. And you know, and that's what really makes you think as human beings. It's like, how the fuck will we been able to survive with these species? And also too, it's like thinking about the most basic, ordinary things, like going to Subway, getting a sandwich, walking to your car. Oh fuck, I can't go to my car. There's 3 raptors by my car. It's like those are the scenarios that we don't really think about.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a
Or
brontosaurus in the middle of Eastern Parkway. Can't go today.
or like we'd be telling everybody, don't ride woolly mammoths anymore. We know you like it, but it's bad for their backs.
Oh yeah, I feel like as humans, they would already, as much of no knowledge is known as dinosaurs, humans would be so quick to try to control them and try to just basically run them and manage them how there is. I mean, there's tons of good people out there that take care and love animals, but I could just see humans, ruining the dinosaur thing just because that's really what affects all these animals. I mean, it's poaching and just humans in general of our bad behavior is the reason why some animals aren't around and why these creatures don't get to survive. And it's like it makes you really wonder if with dinosaurs, like, would we have done the same thing? Like, would there be people getting all excited to wake up on Saturday morning to go kill a bunch of stegosauruses like they do for deers? Like, just different things you think about. It's like, how would we operate?
Yeah, we might be more of like a tree people, because dinosaurs are fucking big. So you got to go to a tree or a cave, right?
Yeah, and there was a show back in the day. I can't think of like exactly what it was called. It was either called, I don't know, it was like Lost Lands or something, but it was basically this dinosaur show that was on like in the 90s, 2000s. I just remember seeing it as a kid in the mornings before I go to school, and they were like fighting off dinosaurs. There was like dinosaurs with them, and they were all living like these tree, like there was like a circular area where they have like their house and stuff on the tree, similar to Jurassic Park when they go up. And yeah, it
Oh,
makes
cool.
you wonder, like, what are they going to do up there? Like, they can live up there for the rest of their lives, and then it's like, live in fear, or do you just come down and run around with the dinosaurs? I don't know, but it's interesting. I mean, animals and all that is just very, very interesting. What would you say your favorite, talking about Jurassic Park, what's like your favorite Jurassic Park?
Of the movies,
Yeah.
it would be between, to me, really just the first two were the ones that are even good. So I really like number two because it has Vince Vaughn,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
and
Vince
it's
Vaughn's the beast.
very, yeah, and it's adventurous, and it has, they take the T-Rex to San Francisco or whatever,
Mm.
and that's trippy.
I like, the first one was always classic, but yeah, I would say I like the second one. I also I'll admit I did like the third one as well, but I'm gonna agree. I think I do like the second one the best because you're getting kind of a newer sense of what's really going to happen with the dinosaurs from the first one. But the classic's still the best, just from the standpoint too. So it's an up
Yeah.
and down for me. But I'm maybe I will go with the classic, the original, just because it did blow my mind. And then I've watched a lot of, like, even in this past year, I've watched a lot of behind the scenes footage of making Jurassic Park, and the animatronics they used, and just how it all operated and worked. And it's just, I don't know, it's fascinating. You really got to give these actors credit, like Jeff Goldblum and a lot of the people, because they're acting with real dinosaurs, or even dinosaurs that might not physically be there. They're putting them in, so you got to kind of pretend that it's physically there. But a rumor that the cast had stated, and it has been confirmed as fact, was there was a lot of rain and storming during the filming of Jurassic Park, where that area where the T-Rex supposedly escaped, and they were like inside the actual dinosaur park zoo. Um, the situation was the rain fucked up with the animatronic T-Rex so bad it came alive at lunch. So when the actors and crew were eating like lunch, you like look over and the T-Rex might start roaring or like start moving and stuff, and it was freaking everybody out, even
That's
though they
crazy.
knew it's fake and it's robotic. But it's just because the rain was like hitting sensors that was triggering the electricity to like make the shit move. But even like with the raptors, the raptors in the kitchen where they're chasing the little boy, you know, those were added on. I believe when I read, like, those weren't. I believe they had animatronic raptors, but I believe those were added on by computer. But raptors in real life, a lot of people don't realize, were 10 foot tall. So like an NBA basketball goal is 10 foot. So that's from the rim down to the floor. So you got to picture raptors back then were 10 feet tall,
That's
still with
huge.
that bite, with those claws that they had the middle claw that could literally like dig into your spine. And they're savage. But also, we look at birds. Birds are from the raptor family. I mean, you look at an emu. Like, I go to the zoo and I looked at an emu, and I looked at this emu like in its eyes, and you see dinosaur, like, the way its head turns and the way its neck does. And it's like, it's weird. It really makes you wonder, like, what the hell's going on.
Yeah. How did that happen? An emu. Well, Yeah, it gives you a big advantage to be taller and to get the taller leaves.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
as raptors, velociraptors, that's another advantage. So, but yeah, that's trippy. 10 feet is really tall.
Yeah, and then too, it's like we don't even, another thing that blows my mind is like we don't really have any dinosaur sports teams. If you really think about, like, I know you're not the biggest sports guy, but it's like us as humans, we only out of like the five major pro leagues, we just have the Toronto Raptors. Like, you wonder why we never
That's
went
crazy. Yeah.
dinosaur in sports. Why are we not? I mean, those are what people fear. It's like, the Cleveland T Rexes, like, or like I don't know, just the Buffalo Stegosaurus. It's like we just don't think about um, using dinosaur names as much, and I think that'd be
What
something
about
that we could do.
the Washington Red Fins?
Damn it, you could even do that. Yeah, I mean, because Washington's still rolling with the WFT, which is a shitty, awful name. The Washington, that whole Washington organization, like everything about that is terrible. And now that they're going with the Washington football team, it just I think they got to figure it out, and it's very easy. Like I was recommending when Washington was trying to name their team, like the Anacondas. Like another thing, we don't use many snakes. Like anacondas be badass. Anaconda's like the scariest snake you can think of.
Yeah. Maybe they avoid T-Rex because of the hyphen.
True. There's a lot of
But
things. Yeah, I didn't.
there should be more teams that are named after shit. Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I mean it's more prehistoric. Like I mean even if like a basketball team that's super tall, like the Brontosaurus guys. Some it's definitely dinosaurs should be. I feel like in more sports teams. So would you dive into any of the Jurassic World movies? Have you yet, or are you still like not accepting the new ones, or are you down with the new ones?
I haven't seen them yet,
I
so
like the new ones, but
maybe I
I
like them.
also feel like the dramatics are just a little too much for me. Like, I don't really give a shit about Chris Pratt and that redhead chick's like true love story because I don't feel like in the first Jurassic Park they really made you sit there and like harp on Grant's relationship with that blonde dinosaur chick, or
Yeah,
you're more
totally.
of like trying to figure out how the fuck are they getting off this island, who's going to survive, who's going to be held accountable, what dinosaur is that? And the thing with the Jurassic World movies, I believe that they brought the hype back for Jurassic, so it's good for like this generation to be able to have some kind of experience to Jurassic Park because we had that. But then, like I said, there's just a lot of I don't know, almost silliness and goofiness from oh, we got to put this love story in when she's unleashing the T-Rex. Like there's like one part of the movie where she like releases a dinosaur from exhibit. It's like one of the most scariest dinosaurs, and she literally just walks away with high heels on. And I'm like, girl, you're
Huh.
gonna fucking die. Like you gotta take off running or do something. Like at least wear some tennis shoes or boots if you're dealing with a dinosaur that size.
Yeah. And what? They haven't seen Jurassic Park? They should know better.
Exactly. I mean, it's like what
Yeah.
we made a few of these. It's like what else do we have to add or include? Um, so something I guess to get off the dinosaur topic, something that I was very impressed with that you've done lately. I purchased a shirt. Was the shirts and the clothing that you've been designing? So you were not only like doing your music and stuff like that, but you've also been selling some things that you've designed and you had a Fraser Bane shirt, which was freaking awesome because Fraser, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, his last name's Crane. If people don't know what Fraser, so the Cranes, Fraser Crane, and then Bane from Batman. John was able to make a Kelsey Grammer Fraser / Bane infused T-shirt, and it's fucking dope, and I really like it. It's super
Cool.
comfortable, super lightweight. Are you enjoying doing clothing design?
Yeah, something I've always wanted to do and just never got around to it.
you going to keep doing it more?
Yeah, totally. And if you
Well,
have any ideas, I'll give them a try.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, like just to give you an idea, not to put you on the spot on the podcast, but dude, you know me, anything with Thundercats, like if you could have something funny with like Lino, or it don't need to be funny. I mean, anything. Like just with the Thundercats be dope. I feel like, that's something not explored as much. Even I don't know. I mean, even some shit with dinosaurs be dope.
Ooh, okay. Maybe what about Thundercat Stevens?
Ooh, that'd be dope. Yeah. Like I don't know. There could be definitely some different ideas. I mean, because I just think that's a show that, man, that show was sick. Like, I'm so glad Thundercats was back on Hulu. I love that show. It's a big cartoon in the 80s. I got like the first comic book. I was a big fan of Lionel and the whole gang. So I think that'd
Yeah.
be dope. Yeah, anything with like old school cartoons or stuff like that's always sick. Do you feel like with this clothing brand, like number one, like where tell the listeners like where do you sell this stuff at?
My main site is on T Public. But I'm still kind of shopping around. I
So
have a
T
Redbubble
Public,
now.
TEEPUBLIC.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so look up go to tpublic.com and look up John's stuff. And definitely hit up the Vibing with Sleazy the podcast or me, social media channels. I'll get you in touch and show you some of the brands, even if you want to get the Fraser Bain shirt, which is a classic. Stephanie and Carrie, two of our mutual friends, I know that they've supported your brand and they're proud of what you've been doing. So I know that they'll probably be excited to hear this episode. So shout out to Stephanie and Carrie.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah. So and then shout out to AJ as well. I know AJ's a big listener of Vibing with Sleazy. I appreciate him always listening, downloading. I know, towards the end there before you headed out, you got to connect with AJ as well. So shout out to AJ. Thanks for always listening. But yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely had a good friend group when we were here in town. I mean, we had some good times. I mean, it was always fun and going down to the old Louisville house, and even when you live down there on Wilson, it's which I haven't been down there in a while. I drive past it a lot. So, but where my apartment complex I used to manage for my old job, I was close by there, so I drive by. I'd be like, "Oh, damn!" I used to hang out there a lot. So good times. How's you still got your cat?
Yeah, I got Ellie and another cat who is a boy,
They
who
get
is
along?
declawed. Yeah, well, they kind of get along, but they also fight a lot. So
Oh, okay.
in the middle of the night, I'll hear one of them getting bit, like, "Ow, that really hurts." But I feel bad, but yeah, he has a humping problem. But other than
Oh,
that, pretty cool.
yeah. I love Deli. Yeah, I still have Atlas. Shout out to Atlas. He's been doing well. He's been now that it's getting colder. He likes to go towards the top of any room or anything when it's cold. So he's been sleeping on top of the kitchen cabinet sometimes during the day when I'm at work. I can tell because I think it's a little warmer up there. And then as soon as I come down, he comes down. He's chilling right now here at my feet. But yeah, me and you always bonded over cats, so I always thought that was really cool. And but yeah, so cats. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get another one here soon, but I could see myself down the road, or even trying the dog route. But I just love pets in general. Did
Mm.
you? So another thing I was going to ask you. Do you see any new music dropping in 2022?
Of my own?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of wrapping up album number 2. It still needs a name, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's
send
kind of
John
almost
names. If John Nicholson is this guy, he's definitely send him any names of the album that you think. Definitely anything that try to hit up me or John, and maybe we can send you over some names. See if get some people throwing in some names on it.
something nature related.
Yeah, Nature related. Now tell them too, like what you go by on your music platforms.
Bird nap.
Yeah.
Um, and that I found out that word has been used before. It's also like the sequel to Rio, but I was excited no other band had used it. Um, and I like it because it puts me in the alphabet between Bibio and Black Moth Super Rainbow, two of my favorite artists.
Oh, okay.
So the B's, there's a lot of power with the letter B. I kind of think in symbols a lot with that stuff. Uh,
And B also starts is the first letter to my favorite word, boobs. So yeah, so B is definitely a powerful word. But no, I definitely agree. I feel or a powerful letter because I definitely agree that B, um, yeah, you do. I feel like B with that letter a little emphasize, like you can emphasize that word a lot, like But Patton Oswalt, one of my favorite comedians, he always said that you could tell if somebody was extremely fat if they were B word fat or not, where they would like be like brisket or like that's how he would say it. Like, and it cracked me up because he's like I'm on the verge of being B word fat, and then people were like, "What's that?" And he's like brisket, baller, and just the way he was talking, it cracked me up. It's one of my favorite bits. Yeah, he did it back like it was almost a decade ago when he released that. I think that name of that album was like My Weaknesses Are Strong. But Patton Oswalt, he's definitely a underrated comedian. He always cracks me up, and he always puts out a
Hell
really really
yeah.
good album.
I was really into him as soon as I saw the Comedians of Comedy. And if any of you like comedy and have not seen that, that's a really great with Patton Oswalt and some other comedians.
Yeah, and he's just he's really taking his career up. I mean, he's even he's been on shows and movies. But there's a lot of good comedians out there in general. I'll be honest, I probably need to dive into some more stand-ups. I feel like a lot of times we get so tied into the mainstream stand-up comedians that we don't really venture into others. But another one that I like. I'm trying to think of how you say his last name. I think it's like Sebastian, the Italian guy. Starts with like a last name's M. Um,
Oh, hmm.
I can't think of his name, like Monacosta or something. He's really funny, but yeah, I don't know. Patton Oswalt, it's like I could put on one of his older albums or one of his newer albums, and I'm still like finding myself cracking up and like just humped over and
Oh
just like laughter, just bent over, like just laughing my ass off.
yeah, yeah.
So, what is there any food that you've been eating in Alabama, like that you miss when you were up in Louisville, like living there? Is there any like local establishments or fast food joints or even just home cooking?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, definitely. My mom's cooking like mashed potatoes, for example. She makes really unique mashed potatoes. Or there's a barbecue place in Birmingham that we went to right after the quarantine was relaxing.
Hmm.
It's called Saws in Birmingham, and that's fucking good. We have good barbecue, I think. It's not I don't really go for the vinegary stuff. So we have the more sweet barbecue that I like.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I'll eat vinegar barbecue based stuff, but I'm more of like sweeter barbecue, regular barbecue. I even like Turkey smoky. Mark's Feed Store here in Louisville, like I like some of the sauces they make. Also, from a national chain, I like Famous Dave's sauces. Sometimes they also though have a vinegar based one. I think they call it George's mustard. Um, but yeah, I think you can't ever go wrong with barbecue. I always read that Alabama had good barbecue. I had been down to Birmingham, and when I kind of went and hit up a couple zoos in Alabama, and I thought that the food was always really good. And always, I'm not a big I I'm not a big Alabama Mississippi fan as states. Like no, like it's not somewhere I'm just like very excited to go to like those two states, but I know they
Yeah.
do have things to offer and like secret gems and just a lot of history in general as well. Um, do you Do you see yourself staying in Alabama long term?
I guess ideally not. I'd like to get out and see some places, you know. Um,
Like
Louisville was
out
cool,
west
and
or up north?
I'd like to check out, you know, like West Coast for sure. But of course, now we have a situation where you have to be kind of rich to move to the West Coast, or just accept that you're going to be poor for a while or forever.
Yeah, you gotta
I
like
mean,
pretty
or
much make
live.
a yeah.
'Cause the cost of living is so much higher, and the taxes are higher. It's not easy for the bottom, you know, bottom crust.
No, because out west, I know friends out there that are, some are balling on a budget, some are doing well. Just kind of depends. I mean, I know they have fun. I know there's a lot to do, but yeah, it is expensive. I mean, even when you go past California, I mean, Hawaii's expensive. I mean, I always had this dream and imagine like going to Hawaii or landing a job there or living there, but it's just like things are so much pricier, and it's so interesting, the supply and demand and the price of different things and how some things operate, some things haven't worked. And so I know there's just always those ups and downs. But yeah, I think California would be fun. I mean, I've been out there, and it would be fun to maybe live there for a year, give it a shot. But yeah, you definitely got to take it in that this is going to be a wake up call. Like I'm either going to have to work my ass off to like, and do really, really well, or I'm going to kind of be balling on budget till I really figure things out. But yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Cali. So I have a bunch of California friends out there. So even I mean, I think it's just like you said, mainly out west in general, Arizona, Nevada. A lot of it, just pricier. But a lot of things are happening and coming about. I definitely want to try to get up. I want to get to more New England area. I want to explore like the top of the north, like not to live, but just really see it. And then kind of look out west. But something I've actually had in mind about living, I've always wanted to give Cincinnati a shot. I'm a big Cincinnati sports fan. I love the city and know it really well. And I've always considered giving that a year or so because they got a lot coming there. It's a lot of fun. It's a really developing, happening city, and it's close to Louisville. It's close to a lot of other places. So I've always considered that. It'd be fun.
Hell yeah. I like that place.
Yeah, because it's like the thing with Cincinnati is it's like great food. Got my favorite restaurant, Montgomery Inn. My favorite sports teams, the Bengals and Reds, and then it's got a bunch of like very mountainous areas. Like Mount Adams is like a really cool area in Cincinnati where you can like basically, you're on kind of top of the mountain. They got houses, businesses, bars, and it's kind of like another little district of Cincinnati. But they got cool stuff. I mean, me and my girls went up there here recently, and I always hit up that OmniMax, which is inside the historic museum. It's a giant dome IMAX, and you kind of like your seat's a little reclined, and you just look, and it's pretty much instead of a regular movie screen, everything's around you in a giant dome bubble of screen. So I always thought that was, I thought that was super cool to go.
Hell yeah.
So it'd be kind of fun. I was like thinking about it when I saw it. I was like, this would be really fun to be able to do this whenever the fuck I want, instead of like having to drive an hour and a half or go up there once every couple months. I could actually go to the OmniMax when I really want to.
So OmniMax is not, I guess, an IMAX. That's something else.
Well, it's part of like the IMAX family. They use like IMAX like cameras and footage, but the OmniMax is an IMAX from the standpoint of like HD sound, the 4D dimension kind of deal, but it's a dome. So you're like a
Oh,
planetarium. So it's a
no.
giant
Yeah.
circle above you, and you're just seeing everything. And the movement's crazy. There's a part in the beginning of all the movies, no matter which ones you're seeing, where you get like sucked in. It's kind of like their branding of like showing you're at the Cincinnati OmniMax, and then like you almost feel like you're moving on that. And I went to the actual real IMAX that we have in downtown Louisville and saw Pandas the other day. Shout out to the IMAX in Louisville. The Panda movie was dope. It was awesome. I loved it. I could go to the IMAX a billion times there in Louisville as well. But when you go to the IMAX is just not the same. I like them
Right.
both, but I just definitely would like to get more opportunity on seeing the OmniMax and doing that route down the road. Uh, But yeah, so is there anything else that you feel like you've been you working on that you want to share with anybody or coming up?
Hmm, just video games, you know. No Man's Sky, still building big bases over there that will last far beyond my death. People will be able to see my bases and you know look at what I've done. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool to me. Unless
Oh,
we
that's
blow
sick.
up the planet.
No, I mean that's sick, dude. I think that's really cool. Yeah, that's the thing about it. I always think about that. I'm like, I want to leave a legacy on this earth with the people that was around me. I want people to still be able to see things when I am gone. That's why I like try to leave a legacy on everything I do. I've said this before. It's like I try to live life to the fullest and just be nice and I don't know, impact and leave a creative mark, even if I'm not famous and rich, just some way of, leaving my mark on things and stuff. So I think it's super cool when no matter what it is, you're able to do something that you leave on Earth. I mean, yeah, it makes you scared thinking, yeah, we're gonna blow it up with like climate change and war and all the stupid shit we do as humans. But it's important. I think everyone that needs to leave a legacy or try at least make some kind of impact because you only got one life to live, and the negative thing is there's not another chance to like go back and say, well, I'll do it this way, or I wish I could help that out. It's like, you know, I think people in general just got to keep being nice and just need to keep giving it their all, and and just trying to do what makes them happy, but make someone else happy as well.
Yeah, that's those are up there with goals. The other thing we were talking about promoting is the noise cast. When I get my podcast out, that's what it'll be called. Uh, it's not out yet though.
Nice. Yeah, I always thought you'd be great at doing a podcast and doing different things like that. I mean, because you're very good at audio. I remember what was fun was that at your house one day we practiced doing a podcast. You and I practiced recording and we did it for like
Right.
an hour. I don't even know if we still have the footage. We're kind of just rambling on, going with the flow, just like talking. But I felt like it was really good, and I thank you for that because it was actually really good practice. After getting, I was so nervous of doing season one, and after getting season one done, I'll be honest, I felt extremely accomplished. Like I felt
Hell
like
yeah.
I had just done a big chapter of my life. I did something that nobody else did, and I know others have had podcasts, but I'm saying I did this for myself. I gave it the effort. It worked out great. I grinded it, I promoted it, and for the success it had, and for the turnout and the people that listened, I'm very appreciative, and that's why I want to continue it. The biggest challenge, which I've said before in past episodes, is just booking and guests, and you were one guest I definitely want to have on. I actually made a list of some guests, so I'm working on targeting other people, seeing who else out there. I know, always like last season, I planned a few guests. Some things fell through. Some people get nervous. Same second season be the same thing. I know I'll have names planned, but some will fall through. Some will get booked. So I'm just excited to see who wants to get on, and I'm excited to meeting people doing this. And I don't know. I think it's cool to do a podcast, and I think it's cool too that I'm hearing from people, especially here recently, that like I've not only influenced them, but like made them made them think like, hey, I could do this too, or I could give this a shot. Not, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying everybody's listening to me and think that, but it's just like you can. I mean, everybody can do this, and I would love to do this podcast for years. I love to even do it where I do it for a few seasons, take a break, bring it back. Like the good thing is like this is my brand, this is my logo, this is my platform, and I can really do it however I want. And my main thing was just getting that season one done, starting season two, and just kind of seeing what the future holds. And I just want people to listen, support, and and I'm just hoping that I continuously improve doing it because there's definitely challenges to it. I did the Leo Weekly podcast when I did the Antiques Roadshow, and I thought that was awesome and that was a lot of fun. But I was nervous about that and really just getting through it, and it turned out
Mhm.
great. And when I heard that back, I was like, I can do this. And then 2021, I just one day just hit me. I was like, I'm fucking doing this. And I went and ordered all the equipment, set up my Buzzsprout where I, launched everything, and now it's on all platforms. So it turned out well. What is your podcast going to be? Like, what is you want to do yours about?
It's kind of just going to be whatever I feel like, but I think it's going to contain a lot of, it's definitely going to contain a lot of improv music, looping
Nice.
stuff,
Yeah.
and, quotes and things I want to sample, kind of like a journal, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think you'll do great. I'll be a supporter. I'll be listening, dude. If you ever want me to come on, I'll definitely do that.
Cool.
Festive Owl is a page on Facebook where they promote music festivals, like giving you festival updates, announcements. And Shaq, who Shaquille O'Neal, former NBA Hall of Famer and current Papa John's spokesperson and NBA on TNT. He's a DJ. Shaq is. So he actually has an email. If you go to Festival, they made a recent post, and he actually is looking at all music. So he doesn't care if you got 1 follower or 3 million followers. He'll listen to your music, and he might put it in the mix. So definitely check it out. Festival on Facebook has Shaquille O'Neal's email posted. So he is it's his DJ email, and maybe send something over. I've even thought about it because at the end of the day, what's it hurt? All you can say is no, and or you can say hell yeah. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool when celebrities and artists just do that in general, and it's just anything that can be creative and connect you with somebody like that is dope. But John, I just really want to, number one, thank you for being on. Thank you for taking the time on this Sunday and coming in from Alabama. I've been wanting to have you on. I think it's been a great episode. We've really got to dive into like what you do, what I do, like who you really are, and just it's been a lot of fun, and it's been fun catching up. I'm really excited to see what you do with the music, with the art, and with the podcast. I'm going to be a supporter of all three. One real quick before we get off here, I'm going to let you just do one last plug. Just tell people again, like about the website with your shirts and this kind of the podcast and music and stuff.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's been great. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Bird Nap is the music, and the art is just under John Nicholson. You can probably find me through TeePublic or Google me, or I have an Instagram, which is currently Acoustic Moses, and there's links in that profile.
Yes, shout out to Acoustic Moses on Instagram. But yeah, well, John, thank you again. This is Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast, season 2, episode 2. I'm hoping to keep bringing you more episodes that you all enjoy. Got some also cool guests coming up. I'm enjoying doing this. So everybody download, listen. It's on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, where you find your favorite podcast. I also have episode 1 already out on all platforms. Dedication to Aaron Brown, rest in peace, Aaron. So I was really glad to be able to do that episode of J-Town High School. But yes, John and I had a great time. And again, please continue supporting, support John and support me. I will see you all soon. Have a good one. Peace. We're out.
Wow.